All right, so we have Bobby again.
Now we look
Very
at
young
some
Bobby.
games from young Bobby. Well, he was really very young. Here, this one in 59. In 59, he was 16 years old. 16 years old. He played a very strong opponent, and he played already candidates tournament, by this age, you can imagine. And we look at the game, fantastic game. We'll see, we analyze. Sicilian. Bobby, after some games, after a small period, he was well known as one of the best players in the world against the Sicilian. But he played also fantastic games with black, in Sicilian. Almost in every game, he played Sicilian with black, with fantastic results, Okay. Here, Sozin, he played almost the whole life against every Sicilian main variation, Sozin, Okay, bishop c4. And now after bishop d7, bishop b3, theory. And now black, changes the plan and he comes back into some kind of dragon, with black. And white has to play also a little bit careful because now immediately bishop e3 is not so good. Because black has time to play knight g4 and it's okay after bishop e3. So therefore you have to put first the pawn. Now this is okay for black, if he arrives here. But f3 is a good move. f3, bishop g7, knight a5. And now white can play normal bishop e3 or even a little bit better bishop g5, more active. He tries to provoke a small weakness with h6, like in the game, So, okay, bishop g5, bishop g7, queen d2. And what did he play? Rook h6, okay. And now bishop e3. Now we have the same position like in a normal dragon, but with a small, weakness, the pawn h6. So right now he can't castle immediately because he loses the pawn, of course. No, so now he has to continue on the other.
But why black push g6, h6?
In some variation, he wants to get rid of the bishop. I mean, to take a decision. You go to h4, which is not too good, or you go back. It seems that black won a tempo, but in reality, this is a little bit better for white because it provokes a small weakness. We'll see, even if we don't have a normal dragon later on, because of this move, h6, white has advantage all the time. We'll see. So, okay, rook c8, normal. Now black is threatening after castle to put the knight in c4 and come to a normal variation from dragon where black normally has a good game, if he arrives to this. But after knight c4, white is not forced to take. Usually everybody takes in c4 because it is considered, and it was considered then, that you never give up the bishop, the black bishop from e3. The black bishop from e3 is the main piece to attack, for white, you see. So here white agrees to give the bishop, changing the plan completely, and trying to show that the initiative is stronger than the pair of bishops from black, This is very unusual, and very unusual for someone so young, you see, playing a very strong opponent already, So, okay, queen e2, knight takes, queen takes. Here, if you look at the position, black could be content. Could be content because it's very difficult to see how white will continue the attack, You gave the black bishop and you don't have the main piece to attack, This is the problem. So okay, g4. And after g4, queen a5, h4. Now, black has to be a little bit careful because white is threatening already with tempo g5. Nothing happens for the moment, but it's a little bit unpleasant, you see. Because if you go back with the knight somewhere, the white has the possibility in some position to put a piece in d5, and then it's difficult, And okay, this is the threat. So he plays e6, good move, normally, but now the pawn from d6 is a little bit weak, you see. Another line. So, okay, now knight goes back, very good. Very good because avoids the exchange sacrifice very quickly in the dragon in c3. In some variation, black can do this, and have some good counterplay. So, okay, knight e2, all right. You attack the pawn from d6 with tempo. He has to protect. And now g5. Okay, now you have to take a decision. You have to take. Because if you don't take, white takes himself in h6 and is even worse, So, okay, now at least white could open the file, So what to do? Knight h5, normal move. And now he comes, f5, f4, pardon. In many variations, he's threatening very quickly f5, even by giving a pawn. But if he puts the knight in d5, he's almost winning for white, as in any normal Sicilian. If a strong knight comes to d5 in Sicilian, is almost decisive all the time, So black has to be very careful move by move, So therefore, from here, the game is very, very interesting. Okay, rook f8, normal, no? So king b1, protecting the king, goes away. And now, okay, queen b6, he tries to, to trade queens. If he can trade queens, it's all right for black. He escaped, Nothing happens. Without queen, you can't attack here. You have to have queen on board. So, okay, queen f3. He's threatening now to give the exchange in h5 in some variations. So now rook c5, queen d3 back, very good, because now he gives the continuation, the game continuation. Well, it seems it's very good for black, but in reality, white can open completely the position. This is the problem, And we'll see why. So now, the best way to take in c3, of course, but now you get, white could get rid of the very powerful bishop from g7, Okay, now you take back with the knight, giving the pawn from f4.
Yeah,
with tempo, So knight takes. Now if you take in d6, you don't have anything with white, It's probably worse for white, because later on you lose the pawn from g5, and then it's bad, Okay, but here, very unpleasant, queen f3. And now Gligoric realized that the position is very unpleasant. Why? Because everything is open, If you go to h5, there is always the threat to give the exchange, which is a very strong attack. If you put the pawn in e5, to protect the knight, then after knight e2, again, very strong for white, probably very good chance to win, You can't take in e2 because it's mate immediately in f7. So if white takes back the pawn from f4, the attack continues and winning for white, So, sad position, but what can you do? Knight back, the only way. And here rook takes.
The surprise.
Rook takes, of course. Queen takes. Okay, we see the game. White gave the exchange, but has very strong initiative, and now he threatens immediately rook h1, almost mate in one,
Yeah.
What can you do? Bishop e8, and now after bishop e8, he played again very strong move, queen h6. Now the king can't go away. And in some variations, he threatens rook h1 and g6, both of them. So, in my opinion, the game is over here, In a few moves, it will be over. So, rook takes c3, again, probably the best move. He took. And now again, what can you do with black? The threat is the same. Rook h1 and g6, both, So, rook takes c3, because if he played queen e3, after rook h1, resigns, mate. If he played queen e3, for instance, instead of rook takes c3, queen e3, rook h1, mate.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no defense.
Yeah.
So, all right. What did he play? Rook takes, and now, after rook takes c3, he played g6, opened completely the game,
But here is not working the same rook h1?
No, after rook h1, he has time to put the queen in d4, It's no mate.
Okay.
There's only one very strong check in h7, but it's not enough, because the king goes away to f8, Yes, if he has time to defend by one tempo, it's enough to escape, So you have to move by move. You have to put something very quickly. So the best way, of course, is to open again completely g6. Now you have to wait to take. And now rook h1. Now is enough, you see, because it's too open. Now queen d4, and now bishop takes c6, and black resigns.
No, yes, first Czech.
Czech, okay. Now he goes there to F8.
He resigned here.
He resigned because he's mate. After Rook F1, mate, You lose every piece and he's also mate at the end, Impressive game, Almost from nothing.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Without the black bishop, you can see, A small child, 16 years old, but he destroys his opponent, But Botvinnik was such a strong grandmaster, he could beat almost every world champion, all the rest, Petrosian, Spassky, Tal, all the rest, Maybe even Botvinnik, I don't remember. But, look at this. Catastrophe for black, you see. Sicilian.
Yes,
Sicilian.
beautiful
Very dangerous Sicilian for black, you see. But how he could realize, very, very nice, you see.
Yeah, it seems nice and easy.
Yeah, very easy. This is, in general, this is the problem with Fischer, that everyone was looking later on, the admirers, you see. You look at his game, everybody gets the impression that everything is crystal clean like this.
Yeah.
And everybody could do the same, but it's not possible because it's fantastic technique, in every game.
Yes.
And many, many hours of work and so on, preparation and so on. And what is the most important thing? That everything was done himself, alone.
No
the
help.
rest had, big team and so on. Fischer was almost alone all the time, and he beat, alone he beat the Soviet school finally,
An entire school?
Yeah, everybody. He destroyed the Soviet school later on, yeah. Well,
nice.
So you have to admire him. I mean, playing like this, fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic game. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.